When I was 14 years old, World of Warcraft was released. I was so excited for the game that on release day, I screamed when I finally held the game. Luckily, I was home alone when that happened, but my family quickly discovered my obsession with the game anyway. I played the game for a bit more than a year, or maybe a year and a half, and that time I still consider the best year of my life. At least when I was playing and I could just lose myself in that world. My parents thought my obsession with the game was a problem, and the more negative they got about me playing, the less I would want to spend outside the game, and so the negative toxic spiral began. I first got a priest to level 60 and then a rogue, raiding as a 15-year-old kid and clearing Onyxia several times and reaching the big fire guy with the hammer, Ragnaros. I had to Google that. My World of Warcraft knowledge is really patchy and fragmented due to me playing so insanely much but having to relearn a lot of things since it was 13 years ago. I played 8+ hours a day together with maybe 7 hours of school and then sleep. I lived close to school, so I even raced home in the big lunch break to squeeze in 25 minutes of World of Warcraft. That was how much I just wanted to live in the game. No wonder my parents were worried, but I think the way they handled the situation was probably the worst way possible. Allowing me to play pretty much as I could, and then just being really negative and toxic about it. We couldn't have a conversation without them constantly thinking about how they could mention what they thought of as my World of Warcraft problem. The most crushing experience was having a really nice conversation with my father when I was 15, sort of bonding moment, and then suddenly out of nowhere he started on the World of Warcraft is horrible chant. I learned at that moment that I just couldn't talk with them, and I started avoiding the living room and went there speaking as little as I could get away with. After a week during summer break doing nothing but leveling my rogue from 50 to 60, my parents convinced me to quit World of Warcraft, and I just went completely cold turkey. Didn't play for 13 years until a week ago when I got on a private vanilla WoW server. Name in the description if you're interested. I now play on a priest level 14 and a rogue level 17. Blizzard is remaking the vanilla experience and it's coming out this summer, and if you've never played World of Warcraft, I can really recommend trying to play on a fresh server world when it launches. Only reason to not give it a shot is if you are afraid it will suck you in too much and make you neglect other aspects of your life. Luckily for me, or maybe rather alas, there isn't much to neglect here at the moment. And damn it, I have earned some playtime after 13 years. I was actually surprised with how easy it is playing on a private World of Warcraft server. All you need is to download the 1.12.1 World of Warcraft client, which is very easy to find, and then edit a text file with the server you registered a free account on. Generally, my experience playing there has been very positive. There's about an average 7,000 or so online on the server I play on, and there is a lot of people just like me who love World of Warcraft and can't wait for the official relaunch. Only negative so far is the spammers' private messages offering gold for dollars, which ruins my immersion every time it pops up. I must confess that after having ignored 30 or so messages spamming gold selling and being a poor level 13 rogue that couldn't afford new spells, I suddenly found myself considering logically the offer. How fair it was, how the transfer would happen, would the site be shady with credit cards, and so on. But I shook myself and on reflection realized that it would hurt my self-image too much, and they would probably also steal my credit card details or just run off with my money, who knows. But when such an upstanding citizen as myself, who adheres strictly and without fail to all society's norms and regulations, no matter how illogical, archaic or harmful they are, well I say when such a model top-of-the-hat citizen, as I surely am, is finally tempted by the constant barrage of spam, you know there's something amiss. But my ignore list is growing quite formidable now, and I hardly see spam anymore. Mostly the experience has been positive, and the players I've met have been really nice, like the level 23 rogue who helped my level 12 Night Elf priest do the long run from the Night Elf capital of Thanasis to Ironforge. I met him on the boat, and when he told me he was taking the boat to go questing in the 20+ area, I ventured to inform him that I also had a quest for him if he was interested. Well, he ended up accompanying me for the journey, which took about half an hour, and purely because he was nice. Along the way we talked a bit, how much we played, etc., what was our history with World of Warcraft and so on. And that is just one of the best things about vanilla World of Warcraft, is that there's actually an online environment where people socialize and are nice to each other, sometimes at least. I mean, I played a lot of Dota, and the grind there can be really toxic and seems to affect a lot of people negatively. Well, here in vanilla WoW, people do play to get good and to compete and so on, but I think for many there's also just the motivation of getting some sort of connection with other people in an increasingly alienating and lonely world. And yes, I'm partly referring to my own current situation away from the keyboard, though I do partly play this game alone and partly with a friend who has never tried World of Warcraft. She's playing the gnome mage Tippy and actually considered playing the game 12 years ago when it first came out, but mainly didn't do it because of the stigma of girls playing video games. My rogue is called Razumikin, which is a much more positive name than if I had dubbed him Raskolnikov, so don't come here saying I'm too depressed and stuff. Here he is running into a box, because I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I introduced him waving at you like every single WoW video in the history of civilization has done. My priest is female and has a female name, and every time someone helps me with a quest, I wonder if it's an ever alone beta kid that is only helping me because he thinks I'm a girl, and I feel like an imposter and someone who leads straight guys on, but has a dick. A few things from my World of Warcraft days have been burned into my memory, and I have occasionally thought about them throughout the years. My first ride on a hippogriff blew me away when I first left the elf starting area on my first character, and I must have spent so much time on the Murloc sunken ships quest that I clearly remembered being swarmed by Murlocs underwater near a ship and dying over and over again. But now with much more gaming experience, I thought that quest would probably be no problem. When I finally did it again, I was lucky that I had a party of 3 and managed to get the first chest easily. But when Tibi went for the same chest and I tried to help her, well, things didn't go so smoothly. Fortunately, we bumped into a warlock who cast a breathe underwater spell on all of us. That's the kind of nice things that people do randomly on the server that just makes you all fuzzy and warm inside. Thank you, insert warlock player name here. You sir are a true hero I will never forget. This series will consist of a mix between past and present World of Warcraft experiences, and also how the game and gaming in general has impacted my life. World of Warcraft has shaped me profoundly, just like Dota has, and it has been really weird playing it again this past 5 days. I'm really looking forward to being able to run my first dungeon at about level 20 in the Dead Mines. Maybe Tibi will join me, though I am afraid I will expect too much of her. I must always keep in mind that I have spent 140 plus days inside this game, and she only half a day or so. Probably best I run it a few times solo with a pickup group, and then with her when I'm more relaxed about the run. I'm glad you listened to the end. Let me know if you have any questions or have some topics you would like me to discuss in upcoming videos. I would also love to hear about your World of Warcraft experiences, or why you never tried World of Warcraft.